Do some people intentionally want controversy, and do they really know what they're getting into when they ask for it? There's a comic that was announced kind of under the radar right at the San Diego Comic-Con around Mandrake the Magician. In this case, it's coming back as Mandy. Why is this controversial? Who is upset by this? Well, nobody really. But why are people trying to get people upset over this? It seems strange. Let's talk about that. Hey everybody, this is Perch. This is one of those videos that won't do very well, I think, but I wish it would, because it gets into kind of the psychology of people and where it's like people lean into trouble for no good reason. So basically, there's a character, Mandrake the Magician, and this is a classic character that dates back many years. I wish I could give you some fun history story, some little thing you didn't know, and I'm sure there is. This comic was a syndicated newspaper strip started in the 30s, and then it ran for a really long time, distributed through King Features, and then it showed up in different things, in films and in television and theater. There's been tons of parodies. That's probably maybe the most kind of exciting thing. Is you could argue that things like Satana really is based off of Mandrake Magician in a long ways, which is an interesting fact, as we'll get to in a moment. But it is, it was a property that existed for a long time. Probably has, good feelings to a lot of people. I think the last comic book version is Dynamite did something back in 2013 in which they did a series called Defenders of the Earth, where Mandrake teamed up with some other folks, including like Flash Gordon and the Phantom, to fight evil. And so, it is, it's a character that's been out for a long time. Then the new news, though, is that basically a syndicate, Red 5 Comics Stonebot Studios, announced a new comic called Legacy of, it's Legacy of Mandrake the Magician, and it's starring a new character called Mandy. It's a 17-year-old girl, Mandy Paz, magician in training, who wants to be like the legendary Mandrake. So she has some inborn magical powers. She has mysterious parentage. The classic kind of Harry Potter syndrome here a little bit. But I mean, it sounds fine, right? It sounds like a story you've heard before. It's like she's got these powers. She doesn't know completely how to control them. She's got mysterious parents that we don't know about. Maybe it's Mandrake the Magician himself, but undoubtedly there's going to be a little twist. She's also navigating kind of real world, college applications, mean girls, monsters, etc. I mean, it's very much a, I'm sure I'm not saying it's a clone of Harry Potter. It's just using a lot of those kinds of themes. It's which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. And the fact that, Mandrake is not a character that's, front and center anywhere, why not? Why not do something like this? And for people who've read comics or watched cartoons or any of that stuff for a long time, it's been very common, the story idea of, this generational, either a son or a daughter or a friend or somebody comes across kind of the legacy equipment and sets out to be their own hero. This isn't exactly like a first time idea. And by the way, when I'm saying that, again, I'm not disparaging it. I mean, classic tropes are classic for a reason. You go and you do this. Is this going to sell 1 million copies? I doubt it, but is it going to be a comic that tells a straightforward story? Sure. Hopefully it's a good story. Yeah, the cover looks nice. The work looks classic, and I'm sure it'll be fine. I actually think if you're going to be doing something kind of unique, why not? But here's where the weird part comes in. This is the psychology of the whole thing. So this announcement gets rolled out kind of quietly. Newsarama, published some stuff on it. It showed up in a few places. And, the cover was appealing and everything else. But it was mostly quiet. And then I started seeing in Facebook groups these comments of, this is going to make all the right people angry. And I'm reading that. I'm like, at first, I'm like, how? Oh, this is because it's a girl. This has to be because it's a girl character. It's going to make the right people angry. And nobody really took the bait because, again, it's Mandrake the Magician. That's not a top-selling property that anyone really, nobody is running around saying, you're doing something with Mandrake the Magician. You've ruined my childhood. Nobody's doing that. At least nobody serious is doing that. I haven't seen anyone kind of weigh in on this. And anybody who wants to kind of get really angry about the idea that the legacy of Mandrake the Magician is kind of being taken up by a 19-year-old girl is or 17-year-old, sorry, is kidding themselves. I mean, nobody's running around, pining after Mandrake the Magician right now. But this continued, and it boiled over to Twitter and some other places as well around, this is, oh man, I can't, the Comic Skate guys are going to hate this. And meanwhile, I'm not seeing any outrage. There's no video. I mean, maybe I missed it, but there's no like angry, videos going on about any of this. Nobody cares. I think most people are just like, it's a comic. They've seen this stuff before. It's fine. But the poking kept kind of proceeding. And then I got a DM saying, hey, let's make sure we protect this book. And as far as I can tell, by the way, I want to just state it right here. The creators here, the writers, Erica Schultz, artist Diego Gibraldi, Juan Pablo Massa, Mancho Bunge, none of them are saying any of this. Like none of the people actually involved in the book are pulling any of these games. It's all these people on the outside, these fringe. And I start to think, is it like Candyman, where they want to just kind of mention this over and over and over until like Ethan Van Sciver starts tweeting about it, and then there's a bunch of outrage and people can talk about how it's, everybody hates each other again. Is that the goal? But I find it very peculiar, and I have a lot of questions. So number one, does anybody think this is a positive? Because you've got a book, it's a new book, you're trying to launch it and get some attention out of it. Having this kind of controversy going in, do people believe this is going to help add sales to the book? Are they worried the book's not going to sell, so they're trying to get a bunch of people angry about it because it's a girl and stir up some controversy so some articles can be written about hateful dudes who hate women? Is that the plan? And if that was the plan, that's a dumb plan, because again, you've got Zatanna running around there in DC, and I don't see a lot of hashtag cancel Zatanna stuff going on. Most people in fact, I think most people kind of like that character. And clearly Zatanna is a takeoff of Mandrake in a lot of ways. That's probably going to irritate some Zatanna fans. But I'm just saying the origins, the nod is there. So, and then two, like if the creators of the book aren't involved in any of this, how do they feel about being shoved into all this? Doesn't this seem weird? I mean, this seems like just a good, straightforward book. I think these people probably think that's a bunch of garbage. They don't want to deal with any of that. Like, why would they? It's distracting to actually getting a book out. So I think if anything, it's hurtful to them. And then number three, as I've put the cover here up on the screen, the book looks nice. I mean, the art looks solid. It's we haven't seen the interiors, but this one cover looks good. It's got some. I mean, it just it's a girl magician. Sure, why not? So if you've got a lot of the tools, I mean, I think this book would pop on the shelves. Both covers look distinctive. It would stand out. I think it's probably, I'm guessing here, but it has kind of an all ages feel to it that, you could pull in a little bit of a younger audience. We need some of those in comics as well to bring people in. So all in all, it just seems like a, fairly straightforward thing that's going on, maybe a solid comic. But people are trying to stir up controversy for weird reasons. And it got me thinking about a lot of these topics that come up that get people riled up. How much of it is, jackasses just trying to manipulate our emotions and get us pissed about things that we normally wouldn't be pissed about? I think a lot of the stuff, and it's where I struggle at times, because I'll find a panel in a comic that is silly, that is just either drawn weird or just plays out weird, or sometimes it's a joke. You take it out of the comic and you just have it in isolation, and it's funny, it's goofy. And I'll post it as like, hey, this is kind of fun. I'm not saying, hey, let's burn down the comic industry. I'm not saying let's cancel all these people. I'm not saying this will make all the right people mad or any of that. I'm just saying, hey, this is kind of wacky. This is something Marvel used to do itself with What the and some of the other books they got. Forbush Man would make fun of this kind of stuff back in the day. You have to be kind of old to know that name, but that was that was something even the publishers used to do. But now, if I do that, I will get very polarized reactions around it. I will get people coming in and saying, oh, this is why comics are trash. And I'll get people coming in saying, you're hateful for making these jokes. And by the way, I think this same thing would apply no matter what you did. If I took a panel out of Jawbreakers or out of Cyberfrog or one of those books and I did the same thing, I guarantee you I'd get the same kind of polarized, wacky reaction. And I say that with some confidence because I've seen other people do it. But in the end, we should just be able to kind of joke and talk about these things without it being kind of cruel or tipping into World War III. And I think one of the reasons why we've been unable to do that is it feels like there's a bunch of bad actors out there who are taking kind of innocuous things like this comic book, which just looks fine, and trying to turn it into a civil war. I was really disturbed. And so maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one. But I was really disturbed by these comments like, this will make all the right people mad. Ha, 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 ha. It's like, God, why is that your goal? Why is that anyone's goal? What a stupid goal. Like with all the anger and problems and trouble and chaos in comics, like, are you're sitting there gleeful at the idea of pissing people off? Like, now's not the time. Good God, that's it. Just what a tremendous waste. And it kind of tuned me as I've looked at other things, kind of read emails, looked at Facebook, looked at comments. There's a lot of that going on right now. Just like, this will own the other side. And what value is, there's no value in owning the other side other than just kind of providing your social media entertainment for the day. And I think that's pretty crap entertainment, or at the very least, it's in reruns at that point. Like, we've seen this show before. Anyway, I'm curious if other of you have had the same reaction as I have, and just hopefully you're all smart and you tune it out. I've done a pretty good job of adding mute filters and other things to just kind of tune out some of the common keywords that go on. This one just took me a little bit by surprise, and part of why is because, like I said, number one, this comic is it's just a comic. This isn't going to be a 100,000 copy seller. It's a comic. And number two, I like, hey, there's some new people trying to put a comic out. Stonebot Studios. I don't know much about them, but good for them. Red 5, sure. Let's get some more books out, and I think that's a good thing. Get more comics out. Hey, here's an old property, and we're taking it, and we're going to kind of breathe some life into it. We're not blowing up the legacy of Mandrake the Magician. In fact, we're nodding into it by providing a new mystery and a twist with this girl and kind of who she related to and all the rest. I mean, sure. It seems fine. More efforts like this, please. I guess I want to say I'll end this with a kind of try and be a counterbalance. I don't know what's going on with these people. Erica Schultz, Diego Gibraldi, Juan Pablo Massa, Mancho Bunge, Red 5 Comics, Stonebot Studios. I hope your comic's successful. I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll read it and I won't like it. But hey, you're doing something new. Good for you. I hope you're not pulled into this chaos, and good for you guys. You're not doing it yourself. I mean, just let's make a good comic and a good story. I wish you the best of luck. Anyway, what do you think? Leave a comment below. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Hey, subscribing to this channel is a big thank you. I appreciate it for everyone who's come and joined me on this crazy journey, good audio or bad audio or all. Follow me on social media if you like, Facebook, Twitter. Send me a mail at gmail@comicsperch. And thanks for listening.